Thank you.
मग कुठे दिसतंय? मग कुठे दिसतंय?
Okay, good morning everyone. Myself is Sultana Nasser from Nagar School, Goregaon West. Today we'll be revising history, chapter number 3, applied history. So in this lesson we will be seeing what is applied history and research in various fields, applied history and our present, management of cultural and natural heritage, and affiliated professional fields. One by one, we will see all these parts. Okay. So first part, what is applied history? Now, what is applied? Applied means application. Application of history in our present or in our life. Okay. So applied history is also known as public history. What is applied history known as? Applied history is also known as public history. Applied history is a field of study concerned with the application of history. Okay, as I told you, it is applied history means application. So it's the application of history for the benefit of people in the contemporary and future times. Benefit of the people in contemporary means in the present times, and also in future times. People have a lot of misgivings such as about history, like history of knowledge. For example, history is usually thought as field of interest only for historians and students wishing to pursue higher studies in the subjects and not pertaining to practical life. History as a field of knowledge does not have any applicability to economically productive fields, etc. The economically productive fields means like not as a source of income or not as a good job or good career option like this. So public history helps to make overcome such misgivings and makes history meaningful in everyday life, connecting people to history. There are various universities abroad also where various courses in public history are offered. One of them is Srishti Institute of Art Design and Technology in it is an institute at Bangalore, Karnataka. This institute has an independent department named Center for Public History. This department has taken up various projects and research in the field of public history. Knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance in finding solution to contemporary social issues. Now, what are social issues like poverty, uh, cyclone, or any famine, drought? Okay, so from finding out the history, we can find solutions in our present times and also in future times. Okay, so knowledge of history is useful as it can provide guidance, it can provide help in finding solutions to contemporary social issues and incorporate them in social planning. Okay, we can plan it out how to solve it, what are the solutions. Okay, by the knowledge of history. Knowledge of history is essential for this purpose. The projects and programs related to applied history can create opportunities for people to participate along with the technical experts. Okay, so the projects can give us the opportunities for participating with the experts. The participation in the capacity of tourists visiting museums and ancient sites is also important. Tourism creates interest in history among people. They can volunteer to participate in the conservation and preservation projects of their own city or town or village. Applied history and research in various fields. History is about the past events. All of us know that history is about events which happened in the past. The way our present lifestyle is shaped is dependent on the historical chain. Now, how our present life, it is all dependent on the past. Okay, from past we learn. Okay, we live in present and we plan for the future. Historical events relate to various fields like politicals, social and religious structure of a community, philosophy, technology, and science, etc. Each of these fields have their own history of building knowledge. The direction of future development in every field is dependent on the state of available knowledge. Hence, the method of history can prove to be of value in the research of various fields. For example, philosophy. Okay, so what is philosophy? It is the study of ideas and beliefs about the meaning of life, or it gives us idea about what are the rules, how to behave, how to live our life. Okay, it gives us rule. The history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies. Okay, when we study philosophy, we understand the origin, the beginning of various ideologies. Ideology means set of ideas. Okay, the intellectual traditions. Intellectual means ability to think and to understand the things. Okay, so the history of philosophy helps in understanding the origin of various ideologies, the intellectual traditions giving rise to those ideologies and their historical development. Okay, so while studying the philosophy, we get the ideas. Okay, it gives rise to those ideologies and their historical development. Philosophy needs language as a medium of expressions. In order to understand the philosophical expression, knowledge of the history of language proves useful. Next example is of science. The history of science helps in understanding the chronological order. Chronological means events arranged serial wise, okay? In serial wise. So the history of science helps in understanding the chronological order of scientific discoveries, inventions, and theories. Okay, when you study about discoveries or inventions or theories, you will see the years. Okay, in which year which discovery was done or which thing was invented. All these are arranged in chronological order. So the history of science help in understanding the order of scientific discoveries, inventions, and theories. It can also help to understand the cause effect chain that led to those discoveries and inventions. Not everything is discovered. Okay, but why it was discovered, there was need of that discovery. Okay, there was a need of that thing. Okay, suppose light is discovered, why it was discovered? Because there was a need. Okay, so it is said that the need is the mother of inventions. Okay, whenever there is a need, wherever there is a need, humans, okay, discover or invent something for that need. So it is said that need is the mother of inventions. You can see the slide chronological order, like 1506, then after 6 it's 1517, 1527, 43, then 1558, like this. It is in chronological order. Okay. Scientific discoveries, inventions are often the effects of human efforts to fulfill a need and also curiosity. As I told you, if there is a discovery or invention, the purpose behind that was the need, okay? Need or curiosity. So, scientific discoveries, inventions are often the effects of human efforts to fulfill a need and also curiosity. These efforts are based on already available scientific knowledge. Knowledge of history of science helps in understanding the factors that facilitated a scientific discovery, invention, and also its chronology. When you study the history of science, you will understand, okay, the factors, like you will understand what was the chronology and invention and discovery of that thing. Okay, next example. Next, applied history and research in various fields. Research in technology. Up till now, we have seen research in philosophy, research in science, and now we will see research in technology. So, the history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes. Okay, history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the field of agricultural production. Okay, in the beginning, okay, initially what were the technology used in agriculture? Now we have modern technology, right? But from where we have brought that? By studying it from the past. From studying the history, we have improved our technology, right? So the history of technology helps in understanding the changes and their causes in the fields of agricultural production, commodity production, architecture, engineering, etc. Scientific discoveries, inventions, and technological development are mutually dependent on each other. Science and technology both are dependent on each other. Okay? Knowledge of science and technology was very important at every step, from making of stone tools to agricultural production in the evolution of mankind. Right from the beginning of stone tools to agricultural production, knowledge of science and technology was very important. Okay, because of technology we can make new things, right? Later the advancement of science promoted the mechanization of production. It is necessary to know the history of technology in order to understand the development of mechanization and the mutual dependence between science and technology. Okay, it is very necessary to know the mutual dependence between science and technology. Next, research is industry and commerce. The field of mutual social transactions expands with the growth of industry and trade. Okay, what is social transactions? Buying, selling. Okay, this social transaction expands with the growth of industry and trade. It also promotes continuous development of the network of cultural interaction. Okay, what is interaction? Meeting. Okay, when you're going to buy something or sell something, continuous cultural interactions takes place. It is an integral part of the industrial and commercial management. It is essential to it is essential to understand the history of these process. The nature of the market and commerce has continued to change. Accordingly, the nature of human relationships and social organization also has continued to change. To understand this development, it is necessary to study the history of culture, social organization, and economic institutions. Next, research is in management studies. Okay. So, in order to understand various factors involved in the chain of production, such as means of production, human resources, and process of production, as well as the chain of market and sales management, etc., it is essential to have a knowledge of similar function systems of the past. Okay, so understand the various factors such as human production, human resources, and studying about market, sales management, etc. So we should have the knowledge of it from the functions of the past. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production. So wherever the people are dealing, we should have the knowledge of their psychological character. It is essential to understand the psychological character of people working at various levels in the chain of production and marketing for healthy management. In order to achieve it, understanding of the social and economic institutions that support the industrial and commercial process is important. So in order to achieve it, we should understand the social and economic institutions that support the industrial and commercial processes. Okay. Knowledge of history in this regard makes the management at various level easier when you have the knowledge of history about the management. Okay, so management at various levels makes easier. Next research is arts. It is important to understand the development of various art forms with the help of their style of expression and their foundation in the form of intellectual, emotional, cultural traditions. Now, we all of us know that arts. What is art? There are various forms of arts like dance art is there, music, painting, singing, sculpting, statues, okay, etc. All these are the arts. So it is important to understand the development of various art forms. Okay, the key to the expressions in any form, emotional temperament of the artist. Temperaments means the feelings of the artist, and the developmental history of respective art form can be understood with the help of cultural history. Okay, if you want to know the history of arts, you have to study the history, cultural history. Okay, when you study the cultural history, you'll come to know the various art forms. Next, research is humanities. Humanities include disciplines like history, archaeology, sociology, anthropology, political science, economics. To understand the history of the origin, okay, to understand the history of origin means history of mankind, and development of these disciplines is an essential part of their learning. All disciplines are supposed to have their origin in philosophy. Ancient people all over the world tried to speculate in order to understand the relationship between the universe and human existence. It gave rise to various mythological stories about the origin of this world. Okay, so there are many stories, mythological stories related to the origin of the world, means when the world was formed. So there are many mythological stories. The universal order, human life, gods and goddesses, rituals, and their philosophical explanations. Roots of philosophical ponderings are to be found in these mythological stories. Okay, in mythological stories, there are roots of philosophical ponderings. Various disciplines under humanities have theoretical foundations based on philosophical theories. Only historical knowledge can help us in understanding these developmental stages. Okay, to find out the human beginning of human origin of human. Okay, historical knowledge can help us in understanding these developmental stages. It means human stages till now, all these stages have developed. Okay, we can find out how it is developed only through the historical knowledge. By looking back what happened in the past from the origin till now, we get the idea of all it. Because there are many stories are also there, many mythological stories are there about existence, about the origin of the world. Okay? So if we want to know clearly, we have to study historical development of the humanity. Applied history and our present. Now, applied history and our present means application of history in our present time. People often ask about the practical value of history. The answer to the question about the nature of applied history answers this question as well. Okay, like what is the application of history? Now we will come to know how history is applied in our daily life. The visible and invisible relics of the past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, attraction towards them. We wish to know more about the history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. Like every time we are very curious to know about how our ancestors lived. Okay, what were their thoughts, what were their traditions, etc. It is a heritage. It helps in building our identity. The history of our heritage links us with our origin. Hence, it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for our future. So, whatever our heritages are there, so it's a duty to preserve it and conserve it for future, for our benefit as well as for the benefit of future generations. Applied history is concerned with, now what is applied history concerned with? It is concerned with the preservation and conservation of a heritage and make it accessible to people. Okay? Heritage management creates opportunities of employment. Okay, employment means to getting job. Heritage management gives opportunities of jobs. Okay, in brief, applied history can be described as understanding of our present with the help of history. Okay, understanding the our present with the help of history and finding a right direction for the benefit of future. Okay, while studying history, we will find our right direction to the benefit of future. Now, management of cultural and natural heritage. Cultural heritage, it is in the form of human creation. It is of two types. Now, cultural heritage is divided into two types, that is tangible and intangible. Now, what is tangible and what is intangible? See, tangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites. In this cultural tangible cultural heritage, it includes ancient sites, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings, etc. These all are tangible cultural heritage. Now, intangible cultural heritage, this type of cultural heritage includes the following things: oral traditions and their language. Okay, in the slide in the right side, you can see oral tradition. Okay, oral means mouth, by mouth, they are telling stories or singing songs. Okay, history is passed on from mouth to mouth, like by singing songs, or like folk songs, or by oral traditions, right? Traditional knowledge, social customs and rituals of celebrating festivals. Okay, which are the social customs, which are the um, how they celebrate with the rites and rituals. Style of performing arts, you can see various art forms. Dance art form is there. Okay, certain traditional skills, communities groups who represent such traditions, customs and skills. The slide, you can see the festival, then art form, dance art is there. Okay, then traditional skills you can see. Next is natural heritage. The concept of natural heritage gives importance to the thought of biodiversity. It includes the following things. Now, in biodiversity, what comes? Fauna, flora, ecology, and geomorphic characteristics, which is crucial for sustaining the flora and fauna of particular region. Flora and fauna means plants and animals. Okay, so what is sustaining for the flora and fauna of a particular region? It is essential for the benefit of future generations to preserve our heritage. UNESCO. What is UNESCO? Full form of UNESCO is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay. So to preserve our heritage, UNESCO, the global organization, UNESCO is the global organization, okay, has announced some directives with the objective of promoting the cultural and natural heritage. Okay. On the basis of those directive, list of sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. UNESCO has declared some sites as World Heritage. There is a list, and the last we will go through that list, which are the World Heritage sites. Okay. Cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. What is the main aspect of the applied history? Cultural and natural heritage management. The work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under the jurisdiction of Archaeological Survey of India and India's state departments of archaeology. Okay, this department work for conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage. Besides, Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage is actively working in this field. The work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. So who all will participate in this? Experts from various fields will participate for the conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage. They need to be duly aware of the cultural, social, and political histories of the heritage site. Okay, those were the experts. They should have the information about the heritage, cultural, social, political history of that particular heritage site. Principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. Okay, now there are some 4 to 5 principles which help us in creating awareness. First one, the operations necessary for the conservation, preservation, and development of the heritage site can be handled without causing any change in its original state. Whatever original state is there of the heritage, it should remain the same. It should remain in its original state, okay, without causing any change or without causing any damage. It should be in the same state. Okay, when you're repairing it, when you're taking care of it, okay, so it should not change at all. Second principle, the local social structure and psychology of the local people. Now the people who are living in that particular area, challenges faced by them in the present situations and the expectations can be surveyed in detail. What are the expectations of the people living around there? What situations they are facing, so that should be surveyed. Okay, information should be gathered from there in detail. Third principle, due precautions can be taken to avoid hurting sentiments of the local people. Okay, so the people those are living there, their sentiments should not be hurt while completing the projects of conservation, preservation, and development of a heritage site. When you are developing a heritage site, so these things should be taken care of, that local people sentiments are not hurt. Fourth principle, participation of the local people in the project can be facilitated. We can these people can also take a part in the project. Fifth principle, systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in a creative way and create better opportunities of livelihood. Okay? Like job opportunities can be offered, local people can be employed, and their skills can be taken in a creative way for the better opportunities. Now, the affiliated professional fields. Okay? Knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with the regard to respective legal provisions and public policies in the following fields: museum and archives, preservations and conservation of historical site, tourism and hospitality, entertainment and mass media. Okay. Now museum. The earliest museum, 6th century BCE. Okay, in the world was discovered. Okay, this was the earliest, or you can say this was the first museum was discovered during the excavations at the city of the Ur. Spelling is UR. Okay, Ur in Mesopotamia. Okay, there is one fill in the blank. The earliest museum in the world was discovered in the excavations of the city of Dash. It was excavated at the city of Ur in Mesopotamia. The excavations were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley in the year 1922 1934. This museum was built by the Princess of Mesopotamia. Her name was Enigaldi. She herself was a curator of the museum. She was fond of the museum. A noteworthy feature of that museum is the clay tablet inscribed with the descriptions of exhibited artifacts. You can see in the picture there is a clay tablet, some inscriptions, some carving is done on it, and whatever whatever things are there in the museum. So it is described on this clay tablet. Next museum is Indian Museum. Okay, it is in Kolkata. The Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society. Okay, this is also found in very early times, like in the year 1814 CE. Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist, was the founder and the first curator of the museum. Okay, Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist, he founded this museum. The photographer of the museum seen here is dated to 1905. The museum has three main departments. Okay, in this museum there are three departments such as arts, department of arts, archaeology and anthropology. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publication, photography, exhibition, presentation, model making, training, library, and security. So these all are departments in Indian Museum. It's in Kolkata, a very old museum. Okay, archives. This word we are very familiar with this word archive. Okay, archive preserves and store old documents, official records, old films, etc. The National Archives of India is in New Delhi. Okay, there is a fill in the blank. There is a National Archive in India. The National Archives of India is in New Delhi. Every state in India maintains its archives independently. Okay, so each and every state maintains its archive independently. In the picture you can see, in the first picture, National Archives of India. Then in second picture, it is the inside, how it looks from inside. And in third picture, some photos and documents are displayed. Archives with a distinct purpose. Now, what is the purpose? What are the different purpose of the archives? The main office of the National Film Archives of India is located in Pune, Maharashtra. Okay, this is the film archive, and it is located in Pune, Maharashtra. It was established in 1964 as the media unit of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting of the Indian government. It served three objectives. The three objectives of these archive was to search and obtain rare Indian films and to preserve the heritage for the benefit of future generation. First objective was to obtain, search rare Indian films. Okay, by obtaining and searching rare Indian films, then preserving it. Okay, and to preserve the heritage for the benefit of the future generations. Second objective, to categorize the important aspects of films, to create documentation and catalogs and carry out research in the field. And the third objective was to establish a center for dissemination of films culture. So this archive was having the purpose of preserving the heritage of the films for the future generation. Okay, so every field mentioned here requires expert personnel with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers. Okay, till now, whatever field we have, research field we have seen, like science, technology, philosophy, humanity, management studies, arts. Okay, so every field mentioned here requires expert personnel with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museum curators, sociologists, archive management professionals, legal experts, skilled photographers, etc. Of course, this is just a representative list. The help of experts from many more fields is required. These experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites. Okay, experts should have a knowledge, information about the ancient sites, ancient sites. The help of experts from many more fields is required. These experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites, the historical background of structural remains and artifacts. Projects in the field of applied history can create various opportunities for these professionals. Okay, so if there is a project in the field of applied history, a lot of job opportunities are there for the professionals. In this lesson, we learned about the role of applied history in public training programs for understanding the importance of history, for creating social awareness regarding the conservation, preservation of our cultural and natural heritage. Using knowledge of history for this purpose to enhance the professional skills of people and to develop industrial commercial field to carry out preparatory work and plan for effective implementation of heritage projects, etc. Okay, so in this lesson we learned what is the role of applied history in public training programs. Okay, like for creating social awareness regarding conservation, preservation of a cultural and natural heritage, and using knowledge of history for this purpose to enhance and to gain professional skills for the development of industrial commercial field. Now, it is essential to avoid vandalizing of historic and public places and to ensure that they are preserved for the benefit of future generations. What is the meaning of vandalization? When you go for visiting a historical site, you can see the walls are scribbled with the pen or with the stone or with the wooden stick, something they people only visit there and write anything on the walls. Okay, so we should avoid vandalizing this whenever we go to historic or public places. We should keep it as it is. Okay, we should not destroy it or damage it by spitting on it, by throwing anything on it. Okay, so we should avoid this and preserve it for the benefit of future generations.